What is going on, guys? Mike here with Chit Chat Gaming. So one game that I look forward to playing every single year is WWE 2K games. I've been a big, huge fan of wrestling for my whole entire life. I've been involved in wrestling. With that being said, though, I played tons of wrestling games, and there was a kind of a time there for a little while where the WWE 2K games were really stale and just weren't it. And then like in 2021, 2022-ish, the games kind of got better, and 23 was absolutely phenomenal, and 24 looks like it's on the same path as well here too. I think they finally figured it out, and they kind of got it, and they decided to stick to that pattern. So with that being said, though, I want to talk about here today, though, is should these games be an annual release? Because, of course, there's lots of negativity, lots of feedback, lots of frustrations with a lot of different aspects to this game as far as copy and pasting and such, things that were used last year that I just brought over to this year that weren't changed. And I want to kind of talk about that here today and kind of just discuss whether or not it should be an annual game that should be released. I mean, you got games like NBA 2K, you got games like Madden as well here too, MLB The Show. That's released every single year. Now those games there, I kind of feel that those should not probably have to be released every single year, because really there's not much that changes. I mean, other than the players and what teams they play on and new players and so forth, there's not really a whole lot that has been changed. I mean, the arenas and the stadiums are pretty much exactly the same. There's just some updates to one. Other than that, though, there's really not a whole lot. There's no new modes that you can possibly add as well here too. So really, I feel that there should be a way that you could just pay like $30 to $40 or whatever it may be, and just update your roster every year instead of having to buy a whole complete new game for the $70 price tag, or even more than that, because we have things like the deluxe edition. Because I purchased the WWE deluxe editions. I always get that because you get it 3 days early, which that's a new thing too, is you get it in advance, a couple days early access, 3 days early access. And on top of that, you get a bunch of other attires and such, and different kind of wrestlers sometimes as well here too. So, and you get the season pass. But regardless, though, with that being said, though, I feel that those games do not have to be updated every single year. Now, as much as I would love WWE to be able to do that, I mean, just imagine, I've always said this about the WWE games, wouldn't it be kind of cool to have a shop in there to where, let's just say like WrestleMania, or like last night's or a couple nights ago's Elimination Chamber, you could just update, put in new gear. Like, you could just go in there. I mean, that's one way to make money. That makes it basically a live service game. Imagine WWE being like a live service game, to where you could go in there, and I know they have community creations, but you can go in there and actually buy like new attires, new arenas, updated arenas, and all that as well, new wrestlers. And it just continues on the game. You don't have to buy the game every year. You just continue to buy, new characters, new wrestlers, and new attires and new arenas and so forth. But again, though, that would actually probably be a lot of money compared just to releasing it every year. But with that being said, though, what I want to kind of talk about here is, should this game be an annual renewal? You can always look at games like Call of Duty as well here too. But the only thing that a lot of people say, well, Call of Duty is an annual release. Well, the thing is that Call of Duty is fictional characters, and there is some non-fictional characters in there, of course, as well too, and some non-fiction scenarios. But for the most part, though, it's a story, right? You can make that up as you go. But again, there's only so much you can do with the multiplayer aspect, other than adding new maps, new characters, and some new guns and so forth. But all in all, though, it feels like a new game at some point, because really there's not a whole lot we can do with WWE 2K as far as how the game is probably going to look. I mean, you might be able to sharpen it up a little bit, but for the most part, the way the game is going to look, and kind of the maneuvers and everything like that, it's all going to kind of look exactly, the animations, it's all going to be kind of the same when you kind of think about it. So with that being said, though, there's a lot of things I feel that we could do differently. Now, one thing that a lot of people are frustrated about is the fact that, I mean, yes, there's a lot, before I get into that, there's a lot of new modes in this game as well here too. A lot of new modes, new animation. I guess there's two new modes. There's the ambulance match, and there's the casket match, which have been done before, but they're back in the game now. So technically they are new modes. You got new animations, of course. You got new wrestlers. You got you can throw weapons now. There's ton of the Royal Rumble, and like the different camera angles there's some new features to that. So yes, the game has plenty of new features, has plenty of new wrestlers, of course new entrances and so forth as well here too. So with that being said, though, that's something I think that would make it to be justified to receive a new edition every year. Now, that being said, though, the one thing a lot of people are talking about is going to be the fact that a lot of the entrances and a lot of the wrestlers are copy and paste. You think you've got people, I've seen it recently here, Drew McIntyre, and a lot of it's the female roster, but Johnny Gargano, which really blew my mind, seeing Johnny Gargano with literally the same exact attire that he had last year, Caden and Katana, They have the same exact attire as well here too. Maurice, Natalia, the list goes on and on and on. Let's see, Angel, no, Humberto and Angel, I believe, as well here too. There's a bunch of them. You can look them up, but a lot of the wrestlers have the same exact attire with the same entrances. Now I understand the entrances and so forth, because really a lot of these wrestlers, they don't change it a whole lot, because a lot of people are upset because Asuka's entrance is exactly the same as last year, other than a new attire. It's exactly the same as far as the animations go. Now she hasn't really done a whole lot anything different since then. I mean, she kind of changed up a little bit with the whole damage control, but again, that's more recent. Cody Rhodes is another one, but you gotta stop and think that what has Cody Rhodes really done differently in his entrance that he hasn't done since last year? They updated the attire, but for the most part though, his entrance is pretty much the same as far as his animations go. One thing they could have added was when he comes out, he could easily they could show him giving, how they do with Brett, they show him giving the glasses. They could easily show him, and I don't even know if they do this or not, I can't remember, but they could show him hand over the weight belt to a kid in the audience or whatnot here. So that's something they could have added, differently. But for the most part though, a lot of these wrestlers have the same moves and the same animations and so forth when they have entrances. Now, but as far as going back and not changing the attire, that to me just feels like pure laziness, because that should have been done. I mean, that's one thing that should have been done for sure. I mean, with Maurice, a lot of people are going to say, well, Maurice isn't on the active roster and so forth. Yeah, but she has so many different gears that she's probably used in the past that you could literally take and you could give her a different gear. So there's no excuse for that. Johnny Gargano, of course, he has so many cool gears that you could have gave him. And it's something that shouldn't have been ignored and something that should have been done. So that right there just tells me that it's just pure laziness, that you wanted to get some of these wrestlers. I mean, you gotta stop thinking there's over 200 wrestlers as well here too. They want to kind of get those out and get them ready before the game releases for the next season. That's another thing too with having an annual release, that you kind of feel like literally as soon as the new game is like released, you're already, even prior to that, you're already working on the next one. So that's another thing too, is that there's just so much, like in such a small frame of time, a time crunch, and you literally have to just get these new games out. And sometimes I feel that can make make things a little bit more complicated for these companies as well here too. Would every other year be better? Probably, it'd probably be a lot better. But again though, maybe they're in that middle year, that year that you skipped, maybe you could just update, like I said, a $30 or $40 charge, and you get updated, some updated new wrestlers, you get some new attires and the arenas from the prior year. But again though, I understand they're thinking, because with WWE, every year the arenas change, sometimes the titles change, of course new roster members join, new wrestlers become the thing, or some wrestlers leave as well here too and get released or quit or what have you, go to a different company. So I get that. So I understand when they're thinking of releasing annual. It's just that sometimes it gets a little bit too much, because a lot of it's copy and paste. But again though, at least this year they've added some new features and such as well here too, to kind of make it feel a little bit more fresh than what it has in the past. So let me know down below what you guys think here. Do you think that the WWE 2K game should be an annual release? Or do you think that they should be split up to be every other year? Do you think it's a good idea to have just a continuation, a live service game, what have you, like Fortnite, where it's just one game you buy? And I feel that's what Call of Duty should be, but where it's just one game that you buy, and then every year just you pay $30 to $40 or whatever it is, or you just buy packs and so forth throughout the year. It sounds like that's what AEW Fight Forever is trying to do. They want to basically release one base game, and then you have to buy different seasons or what have you, which you already know my feeling about that. But that being said though, like I said, comment down below, let me know what you guys think here, and make sure you guys like this video. If you choose to, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on that bell notification to get all things that is Chit Chat Gaming. And don't forget that WWE 2K24 releases officially on March the 8th. There's a whole bunch of new content out there as well here too. They dropped that all on Friday. If you get an early access with the deluxe edition, you get the game on March the 5th, which again, I'm excited to be able to play and dive into, and just kind of see the different changes and so forth as well here too. So again guys, happy gaming.